Let's see. Something. Let's see. I will say. Oh, something else that we're probably not going to finish this because I am going too slow on this. That I would enjoy in the new year is pitching myself to be a podcast guest. Again, if it's a place that does, like, you know, we rotate people to have them on to talk about stuff versus like permanent guests, because I couldn't do a permanent spot. But I'd love to find out if there's like a pop culture podcast that touches on a lot of the things from my 80s. Yeah, from my 80s. You know, the late 1900s. If there's a pop culture podcast that talks about that. There are several Star Trek podcasts, which I say this because we all have the best of intent. People say, oh yeah, I'd love to have you on. But you're really just saying that because you're there with somebody, and in the moment, you know, you get people excited to say, oh, maybe they'll actually have this person on, and then it never happens. So I would love it if when somebody actually says, hey, we'd love to have you on our podcast, they meant it and followed up on it. That would be nice. Because I like guesting on stuff, and I am unsure where on the sleigh is dirty at this point. I'm just like, there's so much more that I should be doing in this freaking workshop. People who have no follow through. So even if the intent was even if there was good intent, you know, you just kind of forget. Grooge. Oh my god. You know, so I do know that people do things with the best of intentions, but the road to hell is something. 0 days since last eggnog incident. Interesting. Subaru 11. I, for a moment, forgot how to Roman numeral. Welcome on in. Hello. Okay. Also, the presents have too many edges, and like the dirt is around the bow. That's just not cool. Like all this dirt under here. That's just not okay. You know, I'd like to write more in the new year. I'd like to actually remember that I have a blog, that no matter what internet thing happens to social media sites, I have a place that I can put my words and stuff, and it's fine. I just get caught up in not writing and doing other stuff. You know, I'd also like to maybe actually write. I don't know. It's not the thing that I'm most confident about or in. I have a lot of documents with unfleshed out ideas, but mostly concepts, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should actually turn this into a thing. I won't lie and say that I would love to learn more about the process of writing for TTRPGs. I don't necessarily know that I've got a TTRPG in me, but I would like to make myself more cognizant of the process so that I can, you know, better lend, because I've given a lot of inspiration. That's not a TTRPG joke. That's more of a Muse thing, to people when they need stuff. But I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice to actually put some of my ideas into something. I mean, I'll be honest. The last thing that I wrote in my ideas Google Doc was Captain James T. Crunch, captain of a catering vessel. So these aren't ideas that are going to like change the world, just so we're clear. But I'm definitely going to have Captain James T. Crunch in something at some point. We're close to 69. What shall we do next? Oh god, the workshop is so messy. Okay, this is just gonna need a whole like this just needs just a constant like everything over everything kind of thing. Hey, 69, nice. Well, see, that's the thing is now like since I have the first thing with basically a Captain Crunch analog for my captain, I now need to know, do I do the other serial mascots as the crew? So, you know, if we're going to go with like a Spock analog for the first officer, it'd probably be Count Chocula. So yep. Yeah, oh god, there it is, Mr. Chalk. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Hold on a sec. I saw some things in chat, so let me... Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the point of the document is I just have stuff written down in there, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll use this. And when I started writing when I started writing notes for the Thirsty Sword Lesbians one-shot, it really just was a list of ideas. And, you know, I think Space Valkyrie saw an early draft of it, and it was just, okay, here's the scenario, here's what I can maybe do. And then it sort of spun out of that. My biggest problem and fear, and I can tell you that this definitely happened to me, is I thought I needed to have, like, if you've ever seen adventuring supplements, like they have entire paragraphs about this and that and what this person says and that person says. And I thought I needed all of that. And I may need that if I'm going to give this to somebody else. But for me, once I started realizing what my idea was, the words weirdly just started spilling out from my head unbidden. So that was nice. But yeah, I absolutely have a document full of like, oh, I'm going to use this idea. I'm going to use that idea. And if I ever do another homebrew adventure using D&D rules or using Monster of the Week rules, I'm going to need documents like that just have my ideas. And not worry about the what ifs. Like, oh, well, what if they don't do this or what if they don't do that? Definitely not worry about that because they're never going to do what you want. They're never going to... Unless your players are trying to be super, super nice, they're never going to do what's implied. You can dangle 15 different shiny things in front of them, and they're going to be like, okay, but what about this really not shiny thing over here that you mentioned in the first paragraph? Is that like a Chekhov's rock, or is that just a rock? That's what they're going to go look at. Nothing you can do about it. So now you got to make that rock really fucking interesting on the fly. Congrats. Pyromaniac, thank you for the resub. Welcome on in. A tiny goblin PC. Yep. Yeah. Like, all of a sudden, you have an NPC that you give a cute voice or a cute name that a party has decided that that NPC is baby, and nothing else you were going to do matters. That was a CR thing, right? the chair was the CR thing, right? Because, like, I feel that my is the light okay? I feel my internet TTRPG-ness is which meme do you fall back on? The gazebo or the chair? Which of those two do you fall back on? I am a gazebo person. And I don't know what the chair is. I think I had to learn what the chair is. But I'm much more of the gazebo person. And if you understand that reference, then you know what I'm talking about. Because that's what understanding references means. And the lesson in the gazebo story is make sure that you do not assume your players know what anything is. I have definitely had GMs that run stuff and they say, like in this video game when, or like in this movie or in this TV show when, and I'm like, no, I don't. So I'm gonna need you to use words and just give me the quickie version of it. I did like that one. Yeah, the party laughs, the barkeep laughs, the bar laughs. I think, was it Oglaf? First off, Oglaf, OGLAF. The site is definitely not safe for work, so please be an adult when you go over there. But I think they had a seller who everything in the store was a mimic. And like that was like, except it was honest. Like he was honest about the fact that everything in the store was a mimic. Morning, Desaya. Thanks for that resub. Thanks. I'm not saying that out loud. You cannot legally compel me to do so. So there. I will explain the gazebo thing because it is funny to me. But first off, welcome and thank you to Saya for that resub. I appreciate it. We're still at 69%. This room is huge. But thank you to Saya and thank you Pyromaniac for those resubs. So, in the days of BBSs, a story went around, in the days of like bulletin boards and stuff like that, a story went around about a D&D party, and the dungeon master described, the fact that there was a gazebo, like, you basically come upon a gazebo. Oh, thank you, Temp, and thank you Twitch for adding on the bits. I appreciate it. So the party came upon a gazebo, aka an outdoor structure, roof, columns, sometimes the little lattice thing, except one of the players at the table did not know what a gazebo is. So did not understand what a gazebo was. And to be fair, like the dungeon master may have just been reading this out of the book, like assuming everybody knows what a gazebo is, which is why also don't make weird cultural associations about your players. So the player did not know what a gazebo was and thought it was some kind of monster, creature, antagonist, and was doing all of these things to try to investigate, inspect, and therefore... Right. They never said, what is gazebo? Because you're playing, you're just like... You're playing the game, you're like, I don't know. And I'm sure it was just, again, it was just a piece of the flavor text that, what do y'all see? You see outside, you see a thing, and you see a gazebo. So the joke and the story, and it was apocryphal at the time, so who knows how true it actually was. I believe now the deep dive of the internet has found the person who started it, and to find out whether or not it, like, how close it was to the real thing. But the player is investigating it. The player is using magic on it. The player eventually sets it on fire because they don't know what it is. And for me, that was the lesson of, like, if your players don't seem to understand what something is, you can just stop them and say, hey, like, just so you know, this is just an outdoor structure. It is, it's not even a door, because we know how scary doors can be. So that was like something that was just completely innocuous in the setting that a player did not understand what was, and was like, no, I can't leave this alone. I know that, again, the chair incident is, the GM storyteller was describing this, and when describing the room, I don't know if the description of the chair was lingered on or something about it, but yeah, the party was like, this just can't be a normal chair. So yeah, it's like doors. Okay, this mat, why is this mat dirty? What's dirty on the mat? Nothing now. Ha ha ha. There was also... Oh, okay, I will... Oh, hold on. I'm going to look for this one up. But again, please note, Oglaf is very not safe for work. Very. No. And I don't read it, like, often. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it or not. Yeah, this one's... Also, the names of them don't really help. Okay, I can't find it. Feel free to wander back through it. But again, it's extremely not safe for work. But the point of the joke... Hey, Wireless, welcome on in. The point of the joke in Oglaf was an adventurer goes into a room and there's a chest... And then there's a woman who's chained up, like a half-naked woman chained up, like, help me, adventurer. So, of course, the adventurer goes and helps the woman out, and the woman turns out to be a mimic. And then the chest in the next panel opens up and says, that's really not fair, Steve. And the woman now mimic is like, look, you got to branch out. Otherwise, you're not going to get the adventurers. So, yeah. Another idea for me that I have is, look, I say these things on stream, on the internet, that are recorded. If all of a sudden I find out somebody else has used a similar idea to this, I kind of don't care, because everyone's going to do it different. But mimic animal husbandry. I am definitely going to make a mimic farmer. As in somebody who cultivates and raises mimics. I am also going to make a ranger who has a mimic as their animal companion. Definitely. And I also, I want to look into, I said my other thing is there's the... there's like the bag of holding, and then there's the bag of there's the bag of holding, Then there's like the opposite bag, like a bag of something that when you put stuff in it, it looks like a bag of holding, but stuff goes missing. Bag of devouring. Thank you. I also said, what about a mimic that does look like a chest, looks like a chest full of coins, but the coins are actually baby mimics. And adventurers take the coins, just like hitchhiker plants will stick to your, the burrs will stick to your clothes, and then they get dropped off somewhere else. They stick to fur. What if like the coins are like little baby mimics, and of course an adventurer takes it, and the mimic is slowly devouring other mass around it to become bigger. Or it's just trying to spread its babies out to the world by, people are just passing coins back and forth. So that's my other idea is like, yeah, like how it's like, what is a mimic life cycle like? And do we just get to make that up? There's an elf Christmas schedule. Well, this should be interesting. So here are all of the elves. French bob, mullet, high top fade, beehive, bangs, pompadour, and Vicky Lou. Okay. And there's coffee on that thing. I mean, they actually have a good, like each of them has one day. Actually, some of them have 2 days off during the week. Day shift, night shift. Okay, yeah. All right. Oh, they absolutely are. When they started saying mullet and bangs and high top fade and pompadour, I was like, yeah, Mur was right. They are named for haircuts. I had a high top fade back in the day. I will not say whether or not pictures of that still exist. I admit nothing. Christmas party. Christmas tonight. At the Snow Globe. They have a bar called the Snow Globe. Please note, after last year's eggnog issues, we are no longer providing eggnog as a beverage of choice. I guess shit got real at the Christmas party at the North Pole, which of course it does, but... I love that the entire thing is a cabinet, but then just the door. Like, they didn't make you do individual shelves. They're like, no, everything else, and then just the door. We should probably use a stronger nozzle. That's the thing is, like, I was not, I am much more, like, happy with being in photos now than I ever was as a kid. So not even a lot of photos of me exist if they weren't, like, specifically for, like, yearbook or band or, like, oh, hey, the math league is going to be math nerds at this math thing. Which is a very vague yet also very specific experience that I'm sure some people might share. So I don't have a lot of photos of me as a kid. I would. That's another good use for me of AI. Is if I ever had to be in a movie, I would give you like the 2 photos of me as a kid, and say, feel free to extrapolate as best you can. If you need me in a picture as a younger person, feel free to extrapolate as best you can from these photos what I might have looked like. Again, a good use of AI for artistic purposes that doesn't actually take anyone else's job. Because people should be getting mad when they hear of the fact that there's still a lot of human involvement in AI. And I don't mean being a quote-unquote prompt artist, because do not come for me. That is not a real thing. Calling yourself a prompt artist is like calling yourself a Google search engine manager because you're able to get to CNN when you need to by using Google. Okay? But yeah, that will be another thing for AI. Like, oh, well, we need a photo of you and this performer when you were teenagers. And I'm like, well, here's like 2 photos of me as a teenager. Computer enhance and extrapolate, etc., whatever. Computer remove perm. You know, look, it's always the classic Janeway. Computer, delete the wife. Hey, Dance Lover, good time zone. Oh, hold on, I think... Oh, these are 2 separate shelves. Got it. Hey, Delcon, good morning. Okay, I think these are good. So let's get these shelves done. And then, yeah, we'll be ending a little bit earlier than usual so we can go over to wireless rights. Actually, let me check the Discord just to see what our plan is. That's a lot of messages. It's a lot. Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, this will be fun. Okay. So yeah, we'll hop over there around 10. I do maybe have one question. I like, as much as I don't want to re-engage in streamer discourse, I do wonder if, and this is just me personally wondering, everybody else can do whatever they want to do. There was a question a while back, and it was a legit question, but we were in the heyday of streamer discourse, and I was getting tired of any question about streaming that made people feel like they weren't doing it right. And that's like, my starting time is at 8. Now there's 10 minutes of starting soon. So the question is, do I start 10 minutes before 8, therefore starting at actual 8? So basically, do I fold my setup time into it, or do I not? And I'm sure it doesn't really matter. Hey, Painting Pirate, welcome on in. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't truly matter. But I've always been like, because sometimes I'm up earlier, and I'm like, oh, let me get the starting sooner. But I don't want to throw people off by thinking, oh shit, it's now 8 o'clock, and it's not. It's like 10 till. So I may look at that. Also, I can't always do that on work days because I'm generally still working right up until I start streaming on Tuesday, so it doesn't always work. And I don't want to get into the habit of, just because I'm awake, I should start streaming, because I can use that time to relax and still be a person until I have to be on camera. And then be a person. It's a different person. Clearly. Table's done. Is this ladder done? I think the ladder's done. Is everything in here done? Done. Done. Toy rocket. Paint tin. Ah, there you are. There's another dirty... It's always dirty tables. Shocking as it may seem, some people do believe that we kind of only exist when we're on camera. And that nothing else should get in the way of us being on stream at our appointed time and schedule. And sometimes we feel bad for canceling a stream just because we had to cancel it for reasons. Sometimes people actually do come and say to us, oh, you're not streaming? Well, no, I'm going to be out of town. Oh, but you're not going to be online anyway? No. Yeah, and again, it's not always meant in bad. Like, it's not always meant in bad. It's like, oh, I look forward to seeing you on during this time of day. Therefore, boo that you won't be on. But yeah, like, sadly, we can't. You know, I wish that I had the power to be like a TV production studio and have like content to put on when I'm not going to be here. But that means I also need the time to record that content too. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to feel bad for taking breaks in the new year, because sometimes you just gotta, and that's okay. Oh, this thread is not going to be good to anyone after I've just soaked it. Workbench organizer. Yes, organize all this water. Okay, workbench is done. Yeah. And it's harder because I'm not harder, but it's different because I am a part-time streamer. I've made that choice. I do not stream every day of the week. For those people who do, that's amazing stamina that I don't have. Oh, see, I just had an idea for, you know, all of those, the movie where somebody moves into a house and it's the ghost of the former person because they never stopped, like, they don't know that they're dead. Although I think in the Reese Witherspoon one, they modified it. That's all of my alerts are going off because I got a thing to do in 10 minutes. In the Reese Witherspoon one, I think that they changed it so that she wasn't actually a ghost, but that she was in a coma at a nearby hospital. But her spirit was inhabiting the house or something. I don't know. But like, you know, sadly, much more mundane things. Like, yeah, the person was just a 20, you know, they were like a 8-hour-a-day streamer, and somebody gets the house and it's like this ghost, you hear this ghost doing weird patter at all hours. And it's like, oh, they just never stop streaming. Yes, Google. Everything is reminding me, hey, you have another stream to do in 10 minutes. I think that's the interesting thing is, you know, we'd have to decide, would the stream exist? Would it be like a weird pirate radio Ghost in the Machine Max Headroom type deal or not? You know, would we then make the streamer somebody who is, you know, somebody who was a fledgling person who never got it off the ground, so the fact that there's nobody watching doesn't mean anything to them at all. Because I still think, like, I still think of that article written a few years back, And it's about the people who specifically, hey Tanya, it's going well, who specifically, like, they stream because they want to, they know they don't have a lot of viewer numbers, and they don't stress it. Versus the rest of us that Twitch makes feel like we're failures if we don't have, like, hype. Okay, we're probably not going to get to 80%. So we can always finish the rest of this later. Perhaps actually we can finish it on Tuesday, and then I'll switch over to Palia. If you do play Palia, there are drops going right now, so hop into any Palia stream, hang out for about 2 hours, and you will get some in-game drops. You'll get a new plush and a rug. There we go. And the Palia is out for the Switch now, and sorry, when I opened it, it had better controller support, so a lot. Alien Traveler, I do not know who Raymond Holt is, or if I do, that has slipped out of my memory. So 1 second. Oh, I never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I wasn't watching that show. You know, rest in power, Andre. But I wasn't a big fan of Andy Samberg, so that I was thinking the style of comedy wouldn't be for me, and I've since learned that I was definitely wrong about that. But I never got into the show, so I don't have any thoughts on the character. But I did think about him, and I thought about him and the Flash, the show The Flash. The chief of police, or like the police sergeant, whatever, there was also queer and like openly, and it was just a thing. Everybody was like, yeah, my husband's gonna kill me if we do all this. So yeah, yeah, I think it's cool. You know, it's unfortunate that you know, cops, but it's cool. There are a few people who are making note about, like, they're casting more people of color as cops, and how that lends and leads into propaganda. So, eh. And it's another reason why when I want my cozy mysteries, I want them to be amateur mystery solvers that do some other thing. But a lot of them are now literally police investigative dramas, which I have less interest in. Even if that particular character is one of the good ones. Because I mean, I'm trying, like, you know, because essentially Brooklyn Nine-Nine was trying to be Barney Miller. You know, it was trying to do, like, yeah, we are, you know, we're cops, but it's you know, we're not like awful people, and it's kind of sometimes funny, and yeah, like it was trying to be Barney Miller, which, you know, I enjoyed Barney Miller growing up. I did. Yes, like Murder, She Wrote, or one of my other favorites is Rosemary and Thyme, which is two gardeners. There we go. Two gardeners who also just happen to be around and be observant and notice when things happen. Even though one of the gardeners is a former police person, she's a former investigator, so it does lean into that a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, I far prefer when it is people who just happen into things. And you know, I was watching the Murder She Wrote episode where a few murders happen in a ski lodge, and Jessica says the line that kind of started ruining it for me, where she says, "No, some of my favorite people are police officers." And I was like, "Oh, Jessica, you were so close to getting it, so close." I have not watched Only Murders in the Building either, and I know that's silly as well. But I think I didn't have the right network for it. I think I do now, so I could probably watch it now. What was that on? Was that on Hulu or Apple TV? Hulu. Yeah, I have access to Hulu now. I started doing the thing where I'm like, I put my calendar to say, okay, let me get this, and I'm going to have to pay for it in 3 months, so let me cancel it then, do this. I just put up calendar reminders now to be like, hey, cancel this service, cancel that service. Okay. I want to get this cabinet before, oh, maybe. Yes. Okay, cabinet doors. So we've gotten a lot more. We're at 74%. And we should start winding down. So we've gotten a lot more. We still have to get the ceiling, which is always a pain, because you can do the ladders along the wall to get access, or you can just do the extra long nozzle and just go back and forth, which I kind of prefer. Being on the ladder and then doing it, my perspective gets a little bit weird, but sometimes you do anyway. But yeah, we are almost 75% cleaned. We now know that on Christmas Eve, one of the inventors pitched an idea for a new toy to Santa. It was being taken through the workshop, but at the same time, High Top Fade had made a plane and was doing a test flight. And the plane landed in the mechanism of the present wrapping machine, which seized up and sent coal pellets, because if you're bad, you get coal. So the present wrapping machine got something stuck in it and started spewing coal all over the place. And then Ivor, who was the one who made the star toy, had an idea. I'm not sure how the ice cream is going to come into it, but when we hit 80%, I'm sure we will figure it out. But yeah, this is a nice large map, which, you know, if you were just working on this yourself, you could do this fairly quickly. But we're having fun and we're chatting. But for now, we're going to go over to the credits screen. So give me just a second to save the game. And quit and hop over here.